Thanks to our friend Dr. Michael Kaufman, who's up in Bangor, Maine, and does these presentations, and he's going to be at our summer camp, Camp Constitution, this July in Ringe, New Hampshire, next year, is a wildlands map. This is Agenda 21's goal, okay? And a man named David Foreman from Earth First is the one that came up with this. And David Foreman, Earth First, another NGO, they want to go back to half the country to be the way it was before Columbus set foot, before the white man set foot on the earth. And he said that capitalism must die. I'm paraphrasing, but in so many words. Tom, one of the newsletters I brought in from Tom DeWeese, he has a direct quote. Maybe it's this one. No. Anyway, will you see the red on this map? And you can go on the internet and find this. It's all over the internet. The red is off limits to humans. Very limited. Maybe if you're a UN with a green helmet, you can go in there. So it's completely off limits to any kind of growth, any kind of building, anything like that.
Is it
Is
it currently publicly owned now? The red lands, are they currently publicly owned?
Some of them are owned by the federal government, especially in the Northwest. But it's the rewilding project. But again, we're looking at 100 years. We're not looking at...
Is there a way to procure the land prior to the government's ownership?
What's that now?
Is there a way to procure the red lands prior to the government's ownership?
It wouldn't matter. I mean, if we don't stop this, when they come in, they will get... It could be private property in there. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Because what they're saying, let's say you lived in an area that's part of this red area. They'll say, hey, look, you have 100 acres. You buy into this, you're going to be okay. We're going to grandfather you, or grandmother you, okay? But don't worry about it. And you're not going to have any neighbors, you're not going to build any condos, there won't be any Walmarts coming in. Hey, this is great. Your property's going to, the value's going to be right there. But what happens if there's a fire? Or you want to build a new shed or a new barn? You can't, because you're part of this conservation land. And when you pass away, the land's taken off the market, so to speak. It no longer is productive. So that's what happens. So again, we're talking about not just something that's going to be done in 6 months or 10 years. It's a long-term project. Where you see the yellow are the buffer zones where there's limited activity, and in the little black dots, densely populated zones. Okay, these would be the areas that would be, we refer to them as stack 'em and pack 'em housing. Now again, population control is a key tenet of Agenda 21. Okay.
A question?
You know what, if you ask the questions at the end, because I might cover some of the questions as we go and just sort of make, okay. You know who this guy is? I don't either, but no. His name is J. Gary Lawrence, and he was an advisor to Bill Clinton. He was one of the original members of the President's Commission on Sustainable Development. And by the way, there was only one member of the private sector that belonged to this commission. His name was Ken Lay of Enron, the greedy capitalist that exploited a lot of people. He was totally committed to this Agenda 21. Okay, he's a big supporter of this ICLEI organization. We actually quote him in this reprint, which I recommend you get. I think they're what, 50 cents a piece, 3 for $1. He said, and I won't read it, but he's had a function in England, and this is a worldwide project. It's not just the United States, it's not just Vermont, the whole world. He said that there are going to be people, conspiracy types, who are going to kind of get wind to this, and I'm paraphrasing. He said there's going to be opposition to the people that are trying to implement it. They might be kicked out of office, so we have to change the terminology. We can't say Agenda 21. We've got to say smart growth, sustainability, these types of terms. Like I said a few minutes ago, you go to Sustainable Rutland, go to the little search engine in the website, you put in Agenda 21 and nothing comes up. Imagine if you put in United Nations, I bet you nothing would come up either. But I put in smart growth and bingo, stuff comes up. Okay. By the way, when I was in New Jersey, there were only about 15 towns and cities that belonged to this ICLEI in New Jersey. So I went back to the motel the first night I was down there. I just put in Sustainable New Jersey, and out pops all kinds of stuff, including a slideshow that's where you can download a PowerPoint presentation. And by the 5th or 6th slide, there's a picture of the UN General Assembly. Part of the mission of ICLEI and Agenda 21 is to connect towns and cities to the UN. Okay? It's right there. And I thought, they say, oh, there's no connection to the UN. They're right in their slides and doing it. That's called a lie and deceiving us. Okay? So here's one of the principal agents. This is the future. And by the way, I took a little ride up to Route 8, Route 7. On the right, there's a little wind farm there. It's a wind farm. I mean, you don't grow it. You're not growing wind, are they good? So it's nice. Even the terminology, wind farm, that sounds nice. Is it breezy? Not, I mean, not a wind farm, but a solar, yeah. I did see what I thought was a place to bring your electric car. I don't know if that's what it was. That's something that they're pushing all over the country too. There aren't even many electric cars yet, but they're already building the terminals there to get them recharge the batteries. The batteries would be made in China, probably not made here, right? On the left, you see what Agenda 21 people hate. It's called sprawl, suburban and urban sprawl. What I see is some nicely well-kept homes and plenty of trees, and probably very clean, right? To the right is the wave of the future, the Stackham and Packham housing, with Section 8 housing, no parking, because you're not going to have a car. You're going to take light rail, you know, because you have nowhere to go. There aren't any jobs, right? Won't be much industry anymore. But this is the future, okay? In fact, I was in Nashua, New Hampshire. Nashua has about 4 members, the whole country, I hope the state has about only 4 towns that belong to Agenda 21, ICLEI. You don't have to belong to ICLEI, by the way, to promote this agenda. That's important. Well, I went to the mayor's office. One of our JBS members is friendly with the mayor, a lady, and she never heard of Agenda 21, had no, and I looked around the city hall. I didn't see any overt signs of Agenda 21. Just a bulletin board like that with all kinds of children writing about saving the planet. I took a walk on Main Street and there was a storefront. And it said, Renaissance Downtowns. I said, I've never seen this before. Looked in the window and I saw maps of Nashua, New Hampshire. I said, huh, this looks interesting. I walked in and that's where I found it, folks. I found Agenda 21. Renaissance Downtowns is a corporation that builds the Stackham and Packham housing. A nice young lady came to, oh, can I help you? And I was in my suit and tie, and I had my camera, my trusty little camera, a video camera, and I said, can I take some pictures? Oh, sure. And there was a big sign. What is sustainability? You know, on an easel. Took a picture of that. Everything was Agenda 21. And I asked the lady, have you ever heard of Agenda 21? Never heard of it. And I believe her. And we're having a presentation like this at their library in Nashua in a couple of weeks. So I handed her a flyer and some of the material. Well, thank you so much. And she said, oh, well, maybe we'll show up. Yeah, I said, that'd be kind of neat. That would be great. But they get their money, and I said, where's the money coming from? There's a project they're doing in Nashua right now, and it's typical like this, like it's Stackham and Packham type housing. And I said, where's the money coming from? Oh, it's coming from the federal government, state government, and some private sector money. Well, what do you call it when the private sector and the public sector combine? They called it, they called it fascism, didn't they? Without the do step. It's a corporate fascism. See. And my friend there, and I have a number of people, members in Nashua, but they said, yeah, we remember hearing about meetings. They had no idea that this was Agenda 21 coming in. And they used the town, they used boutique cities. See, Nashua was a mill town many years ago. Merrimack River flows right through it. That was its base. And now it's a boutique city where yuppies can live and they can have quaint little shops, and that's the future. And they made some projects in Vermont. They have projects all over the Northeast. And green buildings, diversity, authenticity, vibrancy, right? But in order to have wealth, you need to create, you need to produce things. You can't just invest on the stock market and make money. So I would look around in Vermont and see if you have seen this Renaissance downtowns anywhere. I didn't see evidence here in Rutland, but I wouldn't be surprised.
We've heard that.
Now, the ICLEI, as I mentioned a little bit about it, go to their website. I challenge you to go to their website, see for yourself. There are hundreds of towns and cities and counties around the country that belong to this. There's 2 big problems with ICLEI. We talked about the Constitution a little while ago. Well, Article 1, Section 10 says that states cannot confederate. And that simply means that the state of Vermont, well, it used to be a country in itself, but when it became a state, they cannot become members of the European Union. They cannot make treaties with China. They cannot declare war against France. They would probably beat France in a war, but they can't do that. Because when they became a state, the U.S. Constitution says you can't do that. That's something that the federal government does. Okay? But there's also, if the state can't do it, one of its economic or one of its corporate subdivisions, a town, a city, or a county can't do it. Right? There's also another part, as I was rereading the Constitution, Article 4, Section 4, says that all states are guaranteed a what type of government? Not a democracy, but a republic, right? well, how can you have Republican rule of law when you have the ICLEI coming in? When towns become members of ICLEI, you abide by their charter,